everyone, it's Eva here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to a very brand new and hot new Sims 4 speed build, because we are building a fairy treehouse using the Sims 4 Enchanted by Nature, the new expansion pack. I had early access, thank you to EA for providing me with an early access version of the game. Because it was early access, I only had the base game and the new pack available. So this build is base game and new pack only, which is quite exciting. And yeah, it's looking really lovely. We are building in the new world that comes with this expansion pack, and it's called Innisgreen, and particularly we're building in Everdew forest, which is kind of the fairy-esque area. So there's 3 different ones. One is kind of a more or less supernatural version, then we have kind of a middle ground, and then we have a more supernatural neighborhood. And I thought the whole pack being about fairies and a lot of people being excited for fairies, let's create a build that is perfect for a fairy. And what is more perfect for a fairy than a treehouse? So yes, we are creating a treehouse that is actually functional in a tree, and we're using a debug tree to create this, and then a lot of shimmying and platforming and making sure it all kind of connects together. But yes, it is a functional tree house. I'm very excited with how it turned out. It's super cute. The items are really adorable. I have to say I'm quite impressed with how cute the items are in this pack and how much detail there is. I personally am not a big occult player. Well, I don't play occults at all. So yeah, I'm just building for the sake of trying out the new expansion pack. I haven't played with it yet, but yeah, I just felt inspired by something kind of fantasy-esque. So here we are, and I really love some of the new features that this pack brings and the style that this pack brings as well. I mean, it is not very versatile, so if you try to build anything but a fantasy-inspired kind of fairy home, you're probably not going to use this pack very often. But if you are into that kind of niche gameplay or build style, then I think that's perfect for you. I personally don't think I will use this pack much after some fairy inspired builds, but that's fine. We don't all have to like the same things, that's okay. But no, I'm really excited about how cute these items are. At first I didn't really think they would be so kind of interesting. When I first saw the trailer, I wasn't like mega keen on the items, but then when I got my hands on the pack, it actually is quite fun. And the really fairy kind of forest inspired items are super adorable, and they're so detailed. Like, I love the little moss on all the windows and doors and all that. So yeah, so that's something that I can very much appreciate, and I do love how cute this build turned out. Just yeah, so like I said, we're only using base game in the new pack, but I'm basically just using the new pack for the entire build. I don't think there's any base game item other than like a towel that I used at all. So yeah, there's a lot of new items, definitely. I'm using a lot of build items as well, like the new stairs, the new balustrade, the new fence. I'm loving that new fence that looks like branches and has like the greenery and flowers on top. It's super cute. So we're using that, and we're creating this kind of pathway up to the front steps, and then another pathway that leads towards the back of the lot, where I've dedicated an area just to the new Apothecary skill, which is new. For the actual rooms of the treehouse, they're on 2 different levels, and I used a lot of rounded walls actually, which I rarely ever do, and I understand why, because it was painful. But I thought for this house, it really kind of, the curves kind of emphasize that fantasy and fairy tale-esque look. But also a lot of the smaller windows all fit on the rounded walls, so that was really handy to find out. And I'm obsessed with the new wisteria. Like, I know that we got wisteria in cottage living, but this is like, this tops it by like a long shot. Like, they're so beautiful. The different swatches are amazing. It's just stunning. I'm using it throughout this entire build. I'm using it as curtains indoor. I'm using it as kind of decoration on the outdoor. Like, it's just, they're really pretty, and I can definitely see myself using those a lot of the time in future builds. I also created a green roof, so the whole kind of lot and all the build elements kind of blend in with the tree and nature. And there is this new roof color or swatch that is grass, and that's really perfect in the trim as well. And there's also this new feature that you can add plants and other items to roofs. That only works on somewhat flat roofs, or like roofs that have a flat surface. Doesn't work on rounded, because I originally wanted to do rounded roofs. But yeah, doesn't work. And then I littered it all up with debug plants galore. There's so many beautiful kind of trailing green plants in the debug section. I wish some of them actually made it into the actual build and buy catalog, but no, you have to go into the debug section to find those. But yeah, the entire lot is covered in plants, and yeah, indoor, outdoor, plants everywhere. But I really love how that green roof really looks super fairy-esque and adds to that kind of overgrown look, as if it's been there for so long, and it doesn't look like it's a new build. And that's why, for example, the swatches of the timber doors and windows with the moss really add to that. Like, it's a small little detail, but it really makes a big difference. And because this is an early access version, I also didn't have any mods or tool mod to landscape, so that was a painful experience, but we managed somehow to kind of landscape the whole lot up, and I really love how it turned out. It's so cute. And also, if you're thinking of buying the new Sims 4 Enchanted by Nature expansion pack, then please consider using my creator code evarotky at checkout. That directly supports me and my channel, and I really appreciate everybody who's been using my code for all the packs before, and especially the last expansion pack, Businesses and Hobbies, because that was the one I worked on and I built lots for. But yeah, if you decide to pick up this one as well, then please do consider using my code. Thank you so much to everybody who's been using it already. But now back to the build. Like I said, at the back there's this area that is kind of raised up and kind of connects around the tree house, and I dedicated that area to the new apothecary skills. So there's an apothecary table, which is kind of the center skill of this pack, and yeah, we're making it a cute little fairy outdoor area. I also put a bathtub there because there are some bathroom items in this pack, and they all look like they should be outside. I don't know if Sims will be bothered by using that in the kind of wild, but yeah, I did include a bathroom in a separate room with a toilet, just because I wanted to make sure Sims will be able to use it. I didn't want Sims to just refuse to go to the loo just because it's like on the outside. But yeah, that is something that I don't know at this point. But yeah, they do very much look like they should be outside, and it's like stone and moss and tree trunks and stuff, so it would surprise me if you then had to have them in an interior room. But yeah, that's what I've decided to do here. So to create the top of the tree, I am using debug branches and a crown of a tree, and I thought that really was just perfect and gave me the inspiration for this kind of build as well. And so it really does feel like a real tree, but without getting in your way too much. Like, it does fade away when you zoom in and out of the lot, so that's really handy. And then on the interior, so we've got the 2 levels, like I said, and the top level is all just one big room. The entrance area is kind of a study / entrance, and I wanted it to be like an extension of the apothecary area outside, where you then kind of sit at your desk and do any kind of study work or anything to do with apothecary skill. And we've got your bookshelves in there that house all your apothecary books and all the things that you need for your sim to perform any kind of apothecary skill. I again haven't tried out that skill yet. I do quite like about this pack that they did include some kind of aspects that aren't just supernatural, because that kind of appeals to the non-supernatural player in a way, and that is always nice, because I think that makes it a bit more versatile, and probably people will choose to buy it even if they don't like to play with fairies, just for the sake of having those kind of more realistic gameplay features. So yeah, that's a nice way of making a occult pack, I think. But yeah, moving on into the main living room area, like I said, it's an open space and there's a lot of kind of crooked windows, so I really wanted to pull that kind of crookedness and kind of messiness in a way into the interiors as well. So it's all chaotic in a way. I feel like fairies would be really chaotic, so I feel like that works. But yeah, we've got a kind of living room section, which is super, super cute. There's a new fireplace. Well, there's 2 new fireplaces, but I'm using the timber one in this build, and I'm obsessed with that tree bookcase. Like, I think it's so cute. Also, the swatches on all the items, not all of them, but there's a few really, really good swatches, like different timber tones. They've considered like warmer, darker, cooler, etc. So it's all catered for in that sense. But then there's also a few colorful ones in there. So I'm using a lot of the green, like all the windows are the green swatch, and I think they're really, really adorable for a build like this. But if you wanted something a bit more realistic, you could go with, you know, a classic timber swatch as well. But yeah, we're using all new items basically. So it's like a new floor lamp, new rug, new sofa, new armchairs, all the kind of clutter, and I am littering this place in plants, and also this is a new gameplay feature so that you can now take care of your plants. So this is obviously not affecting all plants that are already in the game, so only the kind of new gameplay plants, but still it's really fun, and a lot of players have been asking for it. I can't keep a plant alive to save my life, but it is a really fun feature, and I'm definitely going to try that out with my Sims sometime. So yeah, the whole place is kind of littered in a lot of plants, so that is part of the gameplay, which is so fun. But yeah, I wanted the interior to feel like really eclectic and kind of crazy in a way, and we're staying true to all the items that are in the game, so it is all very Enchanted by nature. And then there's also a little balcony. Actually, there's 2 balconies, and I included the new little fairy house in there. I don't quite know how it works, but it definitely has some kind of gameplay associated with it. So yeah, I've included it on the lot for fairies because I think it's their little home. And there's also, if you are a fairy, I think you can turn into the miniature size fairy. So that's quite fun if you're into fairies. I just really like making this kind of build for people who do enjoy this sort of gameplay, and it is really fun and inspiring to just do something completely different for once. Yeah, really enjoyed it. I'm using the new kitchen counters. Unfortunately, there isn't any new appliances that go with that kitchen, and I'm not sure whether you need appliances as a fairy or whether you can just whip up a meal, or if you can just forage and eat when you're out in the wild. But I'm using the base game kitchen appliances that kind of work with it because they give off a rustic vibe, but it would have been nice to see some appliances that work with this kind of very, very rustic style. But yeah, I'm loving how the kitchen turns out, and there's a lot of cute clutter for Apothecary skill, but I'm using it throughout the kitchen as well. I feel like this fairy just works her Apothecary skill throughout the entire lot really, and doesn't restrict herself to just one area. And there's also a new dining table, new dining chairs, so we're kind of combining those 2 types of chairs. There's a super cute new rug. Well, there's 2 or 3 actually. There's one big kind of vintage looking rug which I'm using in the living room and the bedroom, and I really love all the color swatches and the kind of themes on that. And then there's this like moss looking rug, so it looks like moss but it's not, it's a rug, but I loved using that on the interior. It's just, yeah, somehow really cute. It's bizarre but really cute. In the bedroom there's a new bed that I'm using. I love the kind of canopy bed, it's super pretty, and I'm using a new bassinet. And there is also a toddler bed or like a crib and a normal bed, so there is really a focus on the younger generations as well. Lots of toys, lots of kind of, yeah, kid related items, which I didn't include here just because if you have a bassinet it would be like a baby, so you wouldn't even use any of those items. But yeah, there's definitely lots to add if you want to raise your little fairy child here. And I'm obsessed with that little wardrobe like clothes hanging rail that they've added, which just looks like a little tree with branches, and then there's actual like fairy clothes with wings to hang on to them. Like, it's adorable, it's really cute. Definitely love the level of detail that went into this pack. I'm very impressed. But yeah, that is all that I have time for today. I really hope you enjoyed watching this very different but kind of fairy inspired treehouse. Let me know your thoughts on the pack down below. I'm curious to hear whether you're into this kind of gameplay or not. And yeah, if you decide to pick up the pack, then don't forget to maybe use my code evarotky at checkout. But yeah, I will see you very soon with another early access video, slightly different, but can't wait to show you that one as well. I think they all turned out super cute. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.